My name is Prerna, and I am one of the founders of ProductMe. I don't come from ProductMe is a community for anybody who is in the digital product space and is looking to connect a network or upskill and learn from product managers, designers, anyone and everyone who works in the product space or in the tech space. It can be a founder to a designer to a product manager. So it's that experience that I have been using for the last 2-3 years that I will try to share with you in this 25-30 minute session, and I'll try to keep it short. This is the agenda. So a couple of things. It's why build a community that we will look at. Community for a startup, why it would be useful. Something called as building bridges, the strategies that I have worked and tested, or what is being used by people, by other communities from around the world. Impact through a community story. So I will share my impact, share my community story, and then since it's me and the Founder Connect team here, the Q&A might not be helpful, but we will do a quick recap of what we spoke about or what I shared about today. Now, this particular quote that you see, follow your heart and it'll lead you to what inspires your curiosity, is something I have learned or I have been going through in my life. Now, I don't come from a regular fit in a box model. My career has never been that. It has grown in a multi-dimensional way. I started off, or I learned communication design, worked as a UI UX designer, worked as a communication designer, worked in events, worked as a SaaS e-commerce SaaS platform builder or an implementation specialist company. I've worked as a design manager for an advertising company. I've worked in marketing. I've taught marketing, digital marketing during the pandemic, and it's during the pandemic that I wanted to make a switch because I've always been curious about the tech space. Learned product management because I was doing a little bit of mentoring here and there, and somebody introduced me to the concept of product management. Did my certification, and I tried to understand how the market is, but there weren't too many people that I could talk to. Just a random idea over a coffee meeting with a friend. We got talking, like the other person was also trying to find a role in product. I was trying to understand how the market is in product, and that's how we found. We said, okay, fine, over a weekend, let's just try doing a coffee meetup. That is the brand that we know today as ProductMe. We have grown from there the past 2 years. It has been an inspiring journey. Grown to 100, sorry, what am I saying? 100, I'm still stuck in the old numbers. 2,000 plus member community right now. And we are more hyper-focused to the region than outside, because how product is in this region is very different from how it is from the rest of the world. We know Dubai as a city or Middle East as a region is still in its early stages when it comes to a lot of aspects in terms of tech, and we are learning and we are growing exponentially fast. So yeah, that's my experience in a nutshell. There's a lot more that we can talk about, but this particular quote is something I've tried to put out or put in or write, I think, from one of a lot of the conversations that I've been having around in the last few weeks. It just captures my essence in a bit. Okay, so why build a community? Now, there are different aspects or different reasons why we might build a community, but some funny things are, one, Google doesn't have all the answers, right? You always need someone. Even before Google, we've had people sharing knowledge. We've had people teaching or learning or finding out about something, but it has always been through talking with other people who are in your network or who are close to you or who are working in your circle. Talking alone is not fun. Solving problems alone is last season. Solving a problem or not coming up with a solution, but understanding what the problem is, researching and solving a problem cannot be done alone. You always need the support. And we all know friends can help you move, but communities can help you move mountains. So that particular line, all it means is, if you have one friend, yes, he can help you move 3 steps. If you have a community backing you, they can drive you to heights you can never imagine. These are just a few funny aspects. Now, why a community for a startup? There are multiple reasons. Now, being a startup or being a founder, there are many aspects that you work in. You need your tribe. You need someone to support you. You need people that you can talk to or communicate or just understand understand the what, why, the how, when, where aspects, and you need the support system or you need the connections to help you understand those. And being a startup founder, I understand the pains when it comes to, so with okay, so the other thing is my background is not just product management or design or marketing. I've worked across the spectrum. And sometimes it does get lonely when you're trying to do multiple things at the same time, and asking for support doesn't come easy. Asking for help doesn't come easy. But if you build a community or build a group of people or build a surrounding for yourself where there are others who are interested in something that you are interested in, it makes your life easy. So that is why a community helps most of the time. And for a startup, it's a good aspect, or it's a good initiative, because you can do a lot of things. We'll see more about it in the rest of the slides that are coming up. Okay, so a few of the challenges as a startup founder that you would face is you have limited resources, be it time, be it money, be it um, people you can talk to, be it any sort of even tech talent resource. It is very limited. But having a community can help you. Having a community of people who are probably users of your product, who like your product and support you, who have been working in a similar element, or they have the experience. A community of that can be like a dearth or a plethora of ideas and solutions that you can come up with. Second thing is, if you now getting customer feedback on knowing if your product or feature works is also equally important. So the customer feedback loop that you need, which we all take a back step. Yes, we do talk to customers when we do talk to the customer when we are actually doing market research, maybe, or just to validate an idea, we might do it once. But then afterwards, is the product actually working? Once we go live with the product, or if once we go live with whatever function or service or product you're selling, once you go live, you don't do a customer feedback again. You might do it one off when you feel something is not working. But if you have a community, you get the feedback in real time, because the user is there, is a part of your ecosystem, because you've taken the initiative to build an ecosystem to get that feedback. Few of the benefits of a community is the validation and the market fit. So rather than going live and working on uh, trying to get results in the next 3, 4, 5 months, you can actually do your market fit immediately. I think Founders Connect is the best example that I can give for it. They curated the first community, and when they found the thing is working, or found what they're building is working, they've gone ahead and opened up the market, or opened up the platform to many more users. So you can actually validate your idea. User acquisition. Now, let's take Founder Connect itself as an example. Now, they spoke to 20 people. 20 people, let's say, out of the 20, 18 said yes, we like what Founder Connect is, and those 18 people can talk to, let's say, their circle, and bring in, let's say, 6 or 7 people into so user acquisition becomes easier, rather than spending money on marketing, digital, your paid ads and things. So it potentially attracts the right set of customers into your ecosystem. And something called as brand advocacy. So brand advocacy is nothing but the people who like what you're doing, or who support what you're doing, will spread the word. Word of mouth, we know, is one of the oldest and the best forms of marketing. And that's exactly how your brand builds. And even before the advent of the words like marketing and digital marketing and advertising, word of mouth always helped. Our grandparents or our great grandparents always worked around word of mouth, or word of mouth marketing has been the oldest form. So having your community helps that particular aspect. Okay. Now, yes, you have built all that. You've built a community. But what is your why? Well, why are you building a community now? And what are you trying to give back to the community? Now, when you're building a community, it is not about just the network or the people. It is about building bridges. It's about building a platform where everybody can connect with each other. Creating genuine net connections and creating authentic, genuine connections is very important. There are 3 aspects or 3 key areas that I would always suggest for you to focus on as a startup founder when you're building a community is build relationships that are authentic, build relationships that go beyond surface level interactions, go beyond just saying a hi and leaving your customer hanging, or saying a hi and leaving the member hanging. There's so much that you can actually benefit um, from fostering connections that are really genuine, really authentic. You can make some of my best friends or some of my best connects or best contacts or best referrals that I've got are from my communities that I'm part of, where I actually feel well connected. I actually feel that I'm heard. Those are the communities that thrive. They're very authentic. So make sure, and that requires building trust with your user, or building trust with the community members, building trust with whoever is coming and supporting you or collaborating with you. Until and unless the trust factor and the authenticity is not there, it's very difficult to continue building a community where people feel heard. And after, if it is not that way, then after a certain point, people will move on. They'll find something where they feel connected to, or where they feel they're part of something. They part of a group, or we are so humans are social beings, right? So that authenticity, or the fact that I will be heard, or I will feel I can trust them, the trust factor are the basic needs of when you're building a community. Being inclusive, so uh, every member who comes in needs to feel three things. One is seen, heard, and valued, regardless of where and how they come from. And having diversity, so having having not just people from your immediate ecosystem, but actually inviting people from outside your circle can bring in such amazing fresh perspectives. Honestly, trust me, that's the best thing we've had with my community that I've built, or every community that I am going to these days. And a little bit of a personalized experience. So talking, since you have your community members, you can always have the feedback loop or the customer feedback loop going on, and curating personalized experience where it can be something very small. When you feel, make that individual feel special, they'll always come back to you. Um, that's how you get the support of people around you. What is the unique aspect of your one member? Uh, Help them out, try and understand what that is, give them give them give them something for that uniqueness. uh, they'll always return back, or they'll always come back, regardless of, and be vulnerable, be authentic, ask for help. You never People do love to help, like your community would love to help you if you feel stuck somewhere. Those are personalization experiences. Humans being emotional beings are yeah humans are social beings and emotional beings, right? So asking for help, making them feel felt heard are all small elements that you can actually give back and get back also from the community. So it's a two-way cycle, right? How much you give, the same amount reciprocates to you, or even more, as a matter of fact. um, Okay, so we've looked at why building a community is important. What are the key areas that you should focus on? So it is about building bridges, creating connects that bring in value. Now let's look at what are the strategies, or how can you do it. Now, these are just a few ideas that I have tested and tried out, or what I have seen other communities do from around the world and around the region. But anything can be done, or everything can be done by just speaking to your customers or to people who are your community members, and you can get some random unique ideas just from there. Now, if this is just a basic strategy that I usually follow with startups. So I generally consult with startups, or consult with companies who are looking to build communities, and understand what is the actual reason, and help build strategies around how they could go about building a true authentic community. Um, so a few things are hosting online, offline events. It can be a workshop, a meetup, ask me anything, bring in people who are experts in the region. Workshops can be a webinar, like an online webinar, in person, teach them something new. If you're a startup founder, Founder Connect has been doing a lot of amazing workshops or amazing webinars where you actually um, learn what the other founder has done, and how you can learn from their stories. There's a platform called as Amplitude, who actually excel with a lot of amazing workshops, and they're a SaaS analytical platform for product people, but they have built a community around learning and sharing knowledge, and that's how Amplitude as a brand has grown. Every brand, or most of the brands that I can see today, are building communities. So um, taking rather than the brands just taking, they're seeing how they can give back to their supporters. Have meetups. People love to talk, people love to network. Do in person, do online, do offline. Just get conversations flowing. A lot of amazing things can, a lot of amazing conversations, a lot of amazing collaborations can come out of these conversations that happen around. Have AMA. Everybody has a question to ask. Have AMA sessions with industry leaders who can provide insights, who can provide stories, their experiences. Keep it simple, have it on a monthly basis, but just have these three elements, and you can mix and match. You don't have to follow, okay, if it's a workshop, it's only a workshop that I can do. You can mix and match elements. You can have, now your workshop or the meetup can be different formats. You can have a community roundtable. You can have just an online gathering. Every Thursday at 4 p.m. we'll meet here. It can be just as simple as a venting session. So the coffee meetups that we started off at ProductMe, or what started off as coffee meetups, now turned out to be venting sessions, or mentoring sessions, or just okay, I'm facing so and so issue. How would you go about it? So it's getting feedback from others who have had similar experiences, and how learning from their stories, or just talking about random things. UAE or Middle East as a region can be sometimes lonely, and sometimes it's very difficult to go out of your comfort zone to connect with people. So this is how you build your support system. You can create that kind of space for your founders. Okay, now you can encourage, the other aspect of having a community is UGC content, user generated content. We know how important user generated content is these days with social media brimming. Social media is not, or brand or marketing is not just about putting content out there about your product. It is making the customer's voice heard. So you can motivate a member to share their story, to share their content, um, share it on your platform. That's something that you can do, and create a safe space where they're comfortable sharing stories. So the coffee meetup that I was telling you about was most of the times a venting session for a lot of them, because they couldn't share this knowledge with someone outside, or their circle um, outside their work space didn't understand what they were going through. So creating those kind of spaces helps up people become comfortable and share what they are going through. And we've curated events to help create those safe spaces. Or just there were certain ideas that we actually took up from these safe space sessions, and curated an event that was catering to that particular problem that was shared. Recognize and reward. Everything is a collaboration. Acknowledge and share, or give a shout out or a badge. Share the contributions or collaborations that you've got. Have a reward system, even a big thank you, just a thank you message on the WhatsApp group, making sure everybody in the community knows, or everybody in your circle knows, or just sharing on social media that so and so person helped the community grow, or giving them a badge or some sort of incentive is like a motivation for your community members to keep giving and keep going back. Once, yes, you can do all that, but you need to keep the conversation going. Meeting once a month is maybe that's not just enough. You need a platform where, use a platform like WhatsApp, or use like how you have Circle.co, or I think it's Circle.so that Founder Connect is using. There's so many platforms these days. There's Slack, there's Discord. You can create community centric communication channels where the communication keeps going on. Like, it doesn't stop at the event that you met or the online workshop that you had. The communication needs to keep happening. And create dedicated channels. So that what create dedicated channel means is you can have one group which focuses on the bigger theme, and then have smaller bits or smaller channels where people who want to focus on a certain aspect of what your community is about can come together and discuss. So dedicated channels for organized discussions, your AMAs, relevant topics, that's something that you can try. Now, I will share the story of how ProductMe. Now, yes, we followed a lot of what I have spoken about, and I'll just share a case study of ProductMe as an example. ProductMe is a platform. So when we initially started off, it was just a community for product managers. Now, there was the reason why it became a good community or a good association is because there was limited visibility for product professionals in the tech space. So there's always been a confusion about product management and project management. And also the fact that there was a sudden influx of talent post the pandemic because everybody wanted to come into the market, but there wasn't enough job available, or job opportunities weren't as the equality of the balance of the number of talent and the job pool wasn't balanced out properly, or the fact that professionals lack the access for mentors or industry leaders to talk to. So that's one of the challenges a lot of the product people face. The solution that came about from the problem is a supportive community. So we have done from coffee meetups, we've gone to networking events, we've done workshops, both online and offline. Again, as I said, we started off as a product manager community, but we grew from there and we expanded beyond product managers. We are a community of 1,000 plus people who are not 1,000, 2,000 plus people who are not just product managers. What started off as a community for product managers turned out to be a community for researchers, marketers, developers, founders. Now, everybody, again, this happened just because a lot of the conversations that we've had, a lot of the feedback that we've got back from the community, there were people who were actually interested to come into the community, but they thought it was only a lot of designers, a lot of marketers who thought ProductMe is only for product managers, and they did not come in. But a few came in, a few reached out. We've got communication feedbacks, we've got feedbacks from the members, we got feedbacks from people who would like to come but thought it was only for product managers, and that kind of helped us move on from just being a product management community to what you know today as uh, across the spectrum. So that's something that we did. Okay, so the impact is an ecosystem for every product person in the region to share knowledge, to get feedback, to connect with others, and to learn, grow, and feel loved or feel heard. We've been doing this for 2+ years, and we've had close to 25 events now to date, and we're 1,000 plus and growing. ProductMe has been hearing what the members of the community wants, and we have been trying to build better roadmaps or build better directions for ProductMe. This year we launched a learning circle, and we adapt our events. So based after every event, we have a feedback session, or we receive feedbacks because our community loves what we do. We always get back the feedback, or we always try to reach out, or actually members reach out to us with feedbacks on how we can improve or what they would like to see. And that feedback has helped us grow from who we are, and from a recent set of communications or conversations that we have had, we are looking at how we can improve ProductMe further. So it helped us validate a lot of the ideas that we had over time. um, Again, building a community isn't just practical, it is really helpful. Yes, it takes a lot of time. It does take, it's not rocket science, but it is not easy cookie cutter format every time. There is a little bit of back end work that always goes through, but it is always so much fun when you actually see people achieve, or people come, like, uh, it is it is always fun, or it is always like, you become really grateful when you actually see your community help or support the members more. It gives you a happy feeling. So always hosting a ProductMe event, we do it on month basis. Maybe the beginning of the month, we're like, why do we do this? We don't want to do this moving forward, but regardless, we do the event. After the event, when we get the feedback or the smile that we see in people's face, or the conversations that this help them, when we hear those conversations or those feedback, it we feel really grateful that we've been doing it. There's a sense of satisfaction that you can actually get, because it's immediate feedback, right? It's real time, and you can actually see emotions in your customer's face. That is one of the reasons why I like building communities, or I like um, doing what I do, or what I stumbled upon, and what I do currently. Yes, and not also, the other factor you have to know is, not a community is important for every a community is good to have, or it is important, or it is the way forward. But maybe that is not something you might have to concentrate on immediately. Yes, you can do the building of the foundation work, and you can build, but please, 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 I request you not to build a community just to sell your services or to sell your products. That is not why people come. If you do that, people will, if you do that, people will move on. They are not going to come back, because they'll always find the connection somewhere else. Okay, so this is just a small aspect, or a small way that we can do this. Sorry, I know we are running on over time. Just give me 2 minutes and I'm done. This is the last slide. So harnessing the power of community, or this is just a recap of what we've spoken about. You can unlock a lot of success through community building for a startup. Have supportive and engaging environment for your community. Harness a collective energy and the passion, because if you give back, they'll give you equally. And a community is not do it only if you love it. It needs to be data driven, and it needs to be based on your intuition. It needs to be a mix of both, because you're working with humans most of the time. uh, Community is growth, and engagement is key for thriving. That's it. Thank you so much for listening to me blabbering for a while. That's my information. So if you want to connect, please go ahead. I do speak to startups. I do speak, or I do consult with people who want, or it can just be a coffee meetup. You just want to bounce off ideas. I'm open to that too. Okay, I'm not going to take more time. I'm going to go back. I can see there's a question or something in the chat.
Yes. Thank you so much for all the process and everything that you mentioned, Prerna, and especially the part of that what you are doing with ProductMe, and the last part, like harnessing the collective energy, gets me actually. Thank you for mentioning about this. And we have a question from Mohammed. He asked, he thanks for the presentation. Thank you. And in your opinion, what would be the most important factor strategy for a community?
Okay, sorry, multiple factors are involved. Okay, so the for others, let's say if you're watching the recording and if you cannot see the chat, this is what Mohammed shared with us. I know multiple factors are involved in the success of building a community, but in your opinion, what would be the most important factor or strategy for a community? Um, Could you, Mohammed, if you're still on the call or if you're still listening to us, could you give me a little bit more information on what would you like to hear about? Because when you're building a community now, again, it's like marketing, right? Or it's like building a product. Now there are different reasons or different goals that you want to achieve from your community, or uh, different goals that you want to achieve from building a community. We can have a conversation about this later. You can reach out to me on the Founder Connects platform if you want to learn more. But I think the most important strategy that I feel is going on your intuition and making sure it is. Sorry. Okay, so multiple strategies are involved to achieve success for a community. But in your opinion, what would be the most important strategy? Okay, I think I was talking about that. Data. Data is one aspect, and data and intuition most of the times. But doing your research. Okay, so one, let me put it this way. You need to have your data. So to get the data, you need to do your research. Now, research is I'm not telling that you have to go and speak to like 100 people before you build something. Talk to 10 people who are okay, so talk to 10 people. So talk to 5 who are your potential personas that you have built when you were building your startup, and talk to 5 people who are your secondary personas. So these are people who you did not think would be your ideal customer or ideal target audience, but somehow ended up buying or using your service. Talk to those 5. You'll get a lot of interesting insights and see what is the common ground, or what is that common aspect, that common problem that they're trying to solve for themselves, or why did they come to your brand. Try to understand that, and then have one meeting, a very simple coffee meetup, or depending upon what the services or what you want to share with, or what is that knowledge you want to share with your community, or what is the goal that you want to achieve from your community. Go from there. Have one event. You never know where or how things are going to change.
Thank you, Prerna. I also have one question for you. So, how do you know that the community is healthy, actually? Like, so you are collecting feedback. Maybe you are also mentioning how you are collecting feedback. But I'm always thinking community as a living organism. It has its own heartbeat.
Yes.
And how do you know that it is still alive? Like how do you project it?
How do you protect it? Mm, so it's like, so even though if it's a living heartbeat, it's data, right? You can see where the data is not working for you, or where people are dropping off, and it's regardless how much you give back. I know I said when you give back, the community reciprocates, but then if um, okay, sometimes it's a matter of data and intuition, but what I have learned is when you're authentic, And when you actually reach out to people and the people in your community are authentic enough, they will give you really valuable feedback. They will give you, it might not be, so for the quantitative aspect, you have your data. For the qualitative aspect, you can actually talk to your customers and see how they're feeling being a part of the community. Rather funny enough, with ProductMe, we are trying to bring a little bit of a change in what we are doing. And that is just because of the qualitative feedback or the feedback that we've been receiving from our members. It can be as simple as, and note it down. So there's something called as empathy mapping that I do. It's basically now because a community is a living, breathing environment or an ecosystem, sometimes depending on, you have to talk to people. You cannot just, okay, it looks like I'm beating around the bush, but what I'm trying to say is there's emotions connected in what we do for the community. Sometimes you cannot just depend on data. So what you need to understand is how can you take the emotions people are feeling and stick it with your data, right? So you do something called as an empathy mapping. What people feel here, say, I can share more about it in the chat. So there's it's what they feel, what they do, what they see, and it's the feel, say, do, and see. Yeah. So that's four elements. It's like the four out of the five senses of a human being. How do they see or how do they feel about when they come in? And you can actually get really good feedback if you just talk to your customer. Yes, sometimes it is not feasible when you have a massive community, but even talking to a few of them or just putting out sessions where it's just them talking and you listening, you can maybe sometimes catch and listen. Okay, listening is one of the most important. So listening and feeling is one of the most important strategies that you can always do for your community.
Thank you. Thank you again. Yeah,
Thank you.
it was a great talk
This
actually.
was it
Yeah.
was interesting because I've never shared this knowledge before.
I believe this is the first of many.
This is, I hope so, fingers crossed. Mohammed, I hope I was able to share an answer for your question. If not, always feel free to reach out on Founders Connect, and we can talk more.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay then.
Thank you so
See you
much.
soon, Prerna.
See you soon. See ya. Ciao.